game MLB main slate. Still have baseball going on, but we're not covering that right now. We're just covering the ones you got to look forward to. I'm Chris Spags, joined as always by my good pal, the Chubster, Josh Engelman. How you doing, Josh?
I'm terrible. I'm absolutely terrible. It's been an awful day. Hopefully the White Sox just go bonkers in the next couple innings and I can at least salvage it with money, but not a great one for my Reds today. Reds being Liverpool, not like Cincinnati. No one cares about Cincinnati.
Even people in Cincinnati probably don't care about Cincinnati, but some people may support your soccer team. So if you want to vent for a minute, I'll give you that open floor to bitch to the people.
Yeah, I don't even have anything to vent about. They got the first bounce to go their way. The second one wasn't really helpful for us either, and then we went too aggressive, and Messi showed us why he's the best player of all time.
If you're gonna losing to the best player of all time, making a great play, not the worst way to lose.
No, look, we lost 3-0. That was not a 3-0 game. No one that watched it would ever say that it was. But look, sometimes you need those bounces to keep going, and today was not that day.
Well, you know what? If the people out there, if you're watching this and you need some bounces to go your way, in the form of MLB DFS, and you should use that promo code Live Before Lock, get in for half off your first month on any package, including ones with Fantasy Cruncher. And Josh will be doing a video tomorrow. We'll have an article up on the site as well promoting the new Fantasy Cruncher Pro, which is hitting dashboards, desktops everywhere on Friday. But lots of exciting stuff going on. Use that promo code Live Before Lock now. Get a regular Fantasy Cruncher, or I guess you could wait and get the Pro one. I assume that'll also be half off the first month too.
That's a good question.
Anyway, you want to talk more?
I actually don't know. I mean, I assume it will be. Actually,
I was
you know
saying
what?
That,
it probably won't be, but I don't know that.
Well, we'll find out. But I guess you want to tell people real fast about Fantasy Cruncher Pro because it is coming up, and I know you're doing the video. I guess what do people have to look forward to with that product?
Oh, lots of goods, man. Lots of goods. Advanced randomness. So instead of, let's say you put 100% randomness on a guy projected for 20 points. You would have an equal chance of getting the projection to be 1 as you would 19. It was the same distribution all the way across the numbers. So it was basically just flat. There was no telling what you were going to get between 0 and 20. Now it's going to follow a normal distribution. So the majority of your randomness will be contained inside of 15 to 25. And then it'll stretch out a little bit more and a little bit more. So instead of having really wild swings, it'll be a little bit more logical as it runs, which I think is massive, particularly for basketball. I think that's really going to change things up for people to be able to use sort of a player standard deviation in a much more logical way. We're also going to have ownership projections immediately loaded in. Those would be our ownership projections for early slates, main slates, night slates. That will just be there automatically for you. You don't have to add it in as an additional column. Anytime we push an update, it'll push straight to Fantasy Cruncher. That is going to be incredibly beneficial to people, especially if you're building cash lineups. People generally think that using an optimizer for cash is probably not your best method of entry to cash games. You wouldn't think that you would need it if you're just playing one lineup, but it does give you the opportunity to keep an eye on ownership, which is a very key piece of cash. You'll get your best value lineup dollar for dollar while also being able to make sure you're not getting like a bunch of 1% type guys. And then the biggest change for me personally are some of the features that are involved in lineup rewind. So before, you would have to count up, how many of your lineups in your rewind crunch would have finished in the money, how you would have done. Now you get all of that summary information. You can just pick a tournament that you want to look at, run your rewind crunches. It'll tell you exactly how much money you would have won, your average score, the standard deviation of your scores, how many entries would have finished in the money. Really great summary statistics that I think will help people get a lot better in their lineup construction. It'll allow you to do some work on the back end that should be able to really help you out moving forward. That's something that I will definitely be doing a video for, specifically just using rewind. It's like my favorite thing in the world, and now it's getting even better.
Yeah, and of course the lineup study tools in there as well. You can do a lot more to review your process, and that's what Josh was talking about in that first video he did. Where there's going to be a lot of improvements, and if you are a person who's serious about trying to get better at it, these are the kind of things you need to look at. It's not all picks every given day. It's a lot about construction and repeatable things on a given day, and FC Pro allow a lot of that. So not so much a plug, even though they obviously are a partner of ours. it is something to look forward to as just a DFS player and trying to get better. And I was playing around with it today because I got access. And the lineup study thing alone is an interesting integration that you can see a lot of things, see all of awesome things. You can look at your own mistakes and see your dumbass ownership percentages. Which
I check it every day, man. Every day. I've been using it for a couple weeks now. And the ability to just open it up the night after, I grab Alex's exposures, I'll grab Tom's, I'll grab Adam's, I'll grab some of the other pros in the industry to see how many teams are they stacking, how big is their player pool, what's their concentration of pitching, what's their max sort of caps on hitting, because you'll see we get so many questions like, hey, what's the best unique setting, what's the best randomness setting, how do you use Fantasy Cruncher better? And then you open up lineup study and you grab 4 or 5 different pros and you see 4 or 5 different methods of entry. Some guys, you get a Shanzan that'll play a very concentrated group of 2 really contrarian teams. You'll see Alex with a large player pool, spreading it out pretty aggressively, concentrated on pitching. And you realize that there's more than one way to skin a cat. And a lot of the questions that you're trying to answer come down to how much variance are you willing to stomach before you really can't handle it. And that's the biggest question of all of it, because some of those settings are only just going to affect you in terms of long-term rates. Some will give you a lot more lineups that finish in the money. Some will give you a lot of lineups that don't finish in the money, but the days that you win are going to be massive and fund your losing days. And that's why anytime we get those sorts of questions, you can't just, there's no broad brush answer. And that's what's great about Rewind. You can put in an infinite amount of time going back through tournaments and trying different settings and trying different combinations of stacks and exposure limits to figure out what works for your play style best and what you think will be better for you to, not take a beating on a day-to-day basis and freak out mentally, because the mental piece of this is way more important than the actual quality piece of it, because the problem is people break down over 2 days worth of losses, and that's just not going to be good for you long term. It will cause you to make decisions that you shouldn't make.
Yeah, and we always talk about that here. A lot of people want the quick fix, but we're all about the process here every single day. So keep your eyes peeled. Obviously, we're going to have a lot more on the channel. Subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know we have new content, because Josh will be putting some stuff out about the new FC Pro and what you can use it for in the upcoming days. And we'll also have some more on the site, which I'll be putting out once I get a chance to dig in and review and put something pretty together. Let's talk about the slate itself, though, because we got to live in the present too, Josh. We can't always be Captain Hindsight, though. That is helpful.
I'd be happy to be Captain Hindsight. That seems like a great boat to be on.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing at all given times, in part because he was always looking backwards. But we don't have that luxury today, Josh. What are we doing so far? Pitcher, I think, is the main thing. I think we should talk about that, because using the optimizers today, getting a lot of cheap stacks and a lot of using our projections at Osmo.com, which also you get for that live before lock, half off your first month code. Getting a lot of cheap stacks going along with just the high-priced pitchers. It seems like we're putting a lot of weight towards the pitchers. I don't know if your projections are exactly the same, but that's a lineup build I've landed on a lot of Nola and DeGrom, or Scherzer and Nola, or Caleb Smith and one of the guys, Kluber as well in that mix. Are you leaning that way as well, or are you trying to differentiate and going cheaper at pitcher?
I don't anticipate going cheaper. I'm updating for the Juan Soto scratch right now. So we're still waiting on the Blue Jays lineup, which might take a while. I assume it's because of Sogard. So I just got this in here now, so I can kind of tell you where I'm going to be. From a pitching perspective, and it's easier to talk about it on DK, because on FanDuel, it's just sort of, play the guys you think are good. On DK, there's a little bit more of a gimmick to it. Scherzer grades out a lot better for me than DeGrom from an upside perspective, but I have a sneaky suspicion I'll be relatively equal to them, depending on where our ownership shakes out. Nola is, I think, pretty clearly the best pay down option, but I'm going to have a lot of Madison Bumgarner tonight, and I think I'm pretty alone on that one.
So I don't mind him in general, but yeah, the deeper dive guys were talking about how he just kind of doesn't have the strikeout upside of a guy like Caleb Smith. And I'm inclined to agree there. I also think people, I don't know if the ownership fully supports it yet, but I think people will be playing some of that Indian stack just because it went off yesterday, or at least parts of it did. And people will see that and think, oh, same thing today, even though Caleb Smith, a much better pitcher than Alcantara was yesterday. So I'm going there, but give me your case for Bumgarner, I guess, overall.
Yeah, so I agree that Caleb Smith is a better strikeout pitcher than him, That's not really like up in the air to me. But that doesn't mean that Madison Bumgarner isn't a decent strikeout pitcher. I believe his strikeout rate is somewhere in the mid-20s for this season. He had a down year in it last year, but he's right back now to like where he was previously to 2018. The Dodgers are an average strikeout matchup today. Nothing crazy. Like for every Alex Verdugo and Justin Turner, guys that don't strike out, you get David Freese, you get Russell Martin, you get Chris Taylor, you get, the pitcher. And I really put a lot. I understand that Marlins Park is a great pitcher's park. So is San Francisco. And for the Giants to be favored, but have a run total at 3.8, which is what I have in here right now, that's really beneficial to me. I think we get too wrapped up in thinking like, oh, can this guy get to 12 Ks? Like sometimes being able to be efficient because you're in a good park is just as important to me. And sometimes the strikeouts will just come, but I think that Madison Bumgarner has a chance to go. Like I have him in for just over 6 1/3 innings, which means that like he's probably like one standard deviation of playing time away from getting to 7. And then I don't need him to go out there and K like 14 guys to save the day. He's also not priced that poorly. He's just like, I feel pretty safe with it.
Okay. I mean, look, safety is a nice thing here on a slate like this too, where a lot of people be paying up, and we have seen, higher price guys get blown up. So even if Bumgarner did get blown up and one of the other higher price guys did, you'll at least have more money for your bats to try to make up the difference.
Yeah, so, absolutely. I think it just gives me a little bit more opportunity to be different in my stacks, and I don't really like anything below Bumgarner. So he's functioning as sort of like my default SP2. I'm okay with Desclafani or Fried, Michaelis, Chase Anderson, but I think that Bumgarner's ceiling, just because of the park, is just so massively higher than those guys. And I don't mind paying $8,400. That is just not a pitcher salary that I'm worried about at all, especially when I pair him with Nola.
Okay. Yeah, I see the logic in it. I think, I did pay up a lot. And I'm usually not a pay up pitcher, but this isn't a slate where I really loved any of the cheap guys. Like, I think, you can maybe make the vaguest of arguments for Cal Quantrill in his first start. And that's mostly just in the hope that, you haven't seen his stuff before. And his stuff seems pretty mediocre based on his minors showing, not giving up a ton of home runs, but also walking a decent amount and giving up some hits. So I feel like that's sort of how I go with that. I'd rather take the higher price guys and hope they have enough upside, because I just don't see cheap pitching options I'm comfortable with. But Bumgarner does seem like that middle ground, though, where you're getting a little bit of savings, but not fully going down to a guy who just straight out sucks.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Like, the lowest that I would go would be Chase Anderson. If I get like one share of Sensatella, that may happen. But the lowest I would go with any sort of volume would be Anderson.
So if we're picking between the high-priced guys, I guess it's hard to say who's going to have the best performance because there's so much variance in baseball and all that. But which of the guys would you feel like you're the most comfortable with if you're going to have at high volume out of, let's say, all of the, let's go Nola and above?
Max Scherzer. But I expect to have more DeGrom and Nola, if that makes any sense to you.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Because, Scherzer's going to be in the game. He's not going to get shelled enough where he's taken out, even though he can give us some hits, can give up some home runs, can give up some walks. Not as much walks, actually. But in general, though, he's going to give up some stuff probably to St. Louis. But, I would agree with you. I didn't get a ton of Scherzer unless I was going really contrarian and going with like a Scherzer DeGrom build or something like that. But, yeah, I think his ownership's coming up, actually. 33% now. I don't know. This pitching stuff is this is a tough slate to figure out, I guess. What would you recommend? Would you want people to pay up for the two high price guys if you're on DraftKings or Yahoo, where you kind of have to pay up for the two pitchers? Or would you try to go mid-range with the high price guy? How would you want to handle it?
Look, the best that I can say is my most likely scenario is having two of Scherzer, DeGrom, Kluber, Nola, Bumgarner. I think that is your best chance of winning a tournament.
Okay.
Feel free to pick whichever two of those you want that make like the stack that you want work best. But those 5 guys, I anticipate when I run my crunch, will make up 80+% of all of the pitching exposure that I have today, if not more.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I share your sentiment. Somebody in the YouTube chat right now saying, talking about the mid-range pitcher is way underrated tonight. Mac Momo is saying, mid-range pitcher way underrated, McHugh, Smith, et cetera, et cetera. I presume he just left out Bumgarner. Would you put McHugh in that territory? Because I don't necessarily. I just think this Minnesota lineup has had some tough days versus Verlander and versus Garrett Cole, and I frankly don't see that continuing versus Colin McHugh, but he has been good on the year.
I have McHugh ahead of Smith.
Really?
Yeah. So, yes, I would put him. I have McHugh pretty similar to like Max Fried today. He's not a guy that I ever really get to. Colin McHugh's the type of guy that I want to roster on like a 4-game slate. Every game that gets put in there is just another game where I know that I'm not going to get to Colin McHugh.
Yeah. No, okay. That seems. I would disagree with the Caleb Smith thing being beneath him, but I also just think the Cleveland lineup isn't that good, and I think we just saw the best of it yesterday, which is mostly coming at the hands of Carlos Santana, and I guess you could say Carlos Gonzalez as well. But Santana's really the only guy who's hitting reliably for them, and Smith's stuff on the air. I feel like we talked about this last time that he pitched, and he didn't have the best day. But his swinging strike stuff, his chase rate stuff, I mean, not giving up a ton of hits. Like his hits per 9, 5.3 would be the lowest on the slate. 15.6 swing strike rate, 37.4% chase rate. All of those would be the best on the slate. I just think Smith's got really nasty stuff, which is probably going to be more expensive as the season goes on.
Here's the problem with Smith. Over the last calendar year, he's averaged 5.1 innings per start.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a lot. Like it's really hard to project him to go deep in this game, or to go significantly deeper in this game than that. Like I gave him 5 1/3, which is a boost over his average because it's a really great spot. I think he's a good pitcher. I think it's a good matchup. The total is low, so I do think that he can go deeper into this game. But even if I gave him 5 2/3, he's not someone that's going to be showing up a lot for me because he just does not traditionally pitch long enough. And when you're not going to be in long enough, you have a very narrow window of having to not give up runs and make sure your outs are strikeouts. And that's a tricky proposition for me against Cleveland. So if he were a guy that regularly went deeper into games, I might have a little bit more interest, but that has just not been him.
Okay. I think that's a perfectly justifiable reason. And I think that sort of does distill down what you're talking about with Bumgarner versus him, where, I think the assumption at this point, now that Bumgarner's fully healthy, you'll get a full run of him, or at least he'll go deeper into the game potentially.
Yeah. Like I have Bumgarner in for 6.4 innings. So like basically a full additional inning. And that's just so massive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a pretty credible case, which I honestly didn't think of, but I think that's a perfectly viable reason why you'd want to go there instead. I think the matchup is the one thing which would be a tiebreaker for me. Like I like the Dodgers a little bit as little chunk stacks, and I didn't quite get there for 5-mans, but I think that would be the one caveat I would have with Bumgarner. But just on a pitching side of things, looking at that part of the equation, I think you do make some good points.
Yeah, I assume that I'll have a little bit of the... Well, actually, you know what? I might not, because Bumgarner doesn't appear to be getting any ownership, or at least from what I remember. And if that's the case, it probably won't push the Dodgers further, but I'd be happy to have them in like the grand scheme of things. They're clearly talented bats. It's just a really difficult park. Like it's not a spot where you expect 5 home runs to happen and for you to break the slate,
Tim Peterson asking, who's better, Smith or Means? That is definitely Caleb Smith, and both in terms... Yeah. Of this individual spot and their talent. Like Caleb Smith has 3.4 runs against him. That last time we had the Means debate, he had 4.7. So Vegas not, support not there for Means as much as just for Smith.
Well, 2 different offenses too, but sure. Right? Yeah. Either way, that's not important. Caleb Smith is just good. Like I don't want this to come off as like some indictment of Caleb Smith's talent. I think he's fantastic. It just so happens that there's a guy $200 cheaper than him that I think has a slightly higher upside. And Caleb Smith has a matchup against like a really good offense.
Let's see. Getting a question here from Sir Legend in the premium Slack. Hey guys, great show. I know no one is really liking expensive stacks because the pitching and everyone is on the cheap stack. So how are y'all feeling about a 1 to 4-man Atlanta stack with like Smith and Nola, or is that too crazy? Should I go? This is a very long question. Should I go to some chalk and get up to Klubs instead of Smith? Was that too long? Okay, good. At least you recognized it.
I mean, I don't really have any interest in the Braves today, and I normally don't, and that's when Acuna is in the lineup. It's certainly not going to get better when he's out of it. Yeah, I'm not the best person to ask, though, because I don't ever really get the Braves.
I liked them more earlier today when I thought Acuna was going to be in there. I mean, look, the run total is still there for the most part. I think it came down a little bit throughout the day, but still 4-9-ish. So, I don't hate going there because people just really aren't going to be there at all. And they do have the highest implied run total, maybe a little bit behind Milwaukee now. So I think there's some logic in it. And I don't hate it, but Atlanta's been, I think you talked about it with Lofty when you were doing the deeper dive shows, where the stack never really seems to get there. I don't know why, because they all hit well and they all have great WRC pluses for the most part. And the run total's usually there from Vegas, but the stack doesn't ever seem to help me out too much.
Like, so they're good, but they're not like crazy good. And they're young, which I think kind of tries to skew people a little bit. Like, you would expect them to be better down the line. And they're not like a massive power team, especially with Acuna out of the lineup. Like, Freeman's the only guy with the ISO north of 200. You get to Albies at like too. 180, and then you're in like the 160s, 170s expected range. So they project for 163 in my model today as an ISO, which is solid, but like behind the Padres. So like they don't seem to get there the way that you need GPP wins to get you there. Look, I love Albies, fantastic hitter. I love Acuna, fantastic hitter. I love Freeman, fantastic hitter. But then it's just like, is Inciarte and like Camargo really the guys that are going to get me over the edge? Probably not.
Yeah, I think, and also I think it's kind of funny now because I didn't even realize Donaldson came out, but he's not in the lineup either. And for, as slow as he started the year, he was kind of rounding into form recently, and he does have a lot of power. So you have both him and Acuna out. It is two guys out there who make that stack less appealing, but
I'm sure today is the day that they're going to just go bombs away.
Yeah. I think Charlie Culberson is a guy who generally is a little bit underappreciated. He's done a good job going back to last year. Actually has a 218 ISO and 215 at bats versus a right-handed pitcher. So it's not maybe as bad overall as it may seem, but I agree overall though that not trying to get there. Not trying to get there a ton.
No, he's bad. He's real bad.
Yeah. I don't think Culberson you're saying is that bad?
Yes.
No. 4.7% home run rate. I mean,
he's a 30-year-old utility infielder. He projects for a 74 weighted runs created. I can't even do this one. He might be the worst player on the slate. Let's see where he lines up, because I assume that I could start from the bottom and get to the answer really quickly. Where's this Culberson cat? This should be fun. Okay, he's not. Solarte is the worst guy. Where's Culberson hiding?
I mean, on the year, which I know is a small sample size, 417 on base percentage, 417 batting average. Okay, that's probably a very small sample size. But going back to last year, 215 at bats, 218 ISO, 335 on base percentage, 274 batting average. That's like okay. It's not the worst.
Sounds like someone found their steroids.
I guess you use a little bit longer sample size than me just going back to the beginning of last year. So maybe that's the difference. But he won me or got me like top 5 in one tournament where I think was one of my better wins last year and like a big tournament. So I might be a little biased towards Culberson, but he's got some pop. He does stuff.
He ranks 94th of how many hitters do we have today? 148. So, slightly below average.
In the chat, Jake Hari, Culberson's such a stud. Chris Hernandez, caps lock. He barely plays. He basically pinch hits. Yeah, but when he's in the lineup, he's going to get a few hits. That's why. Look, I'm not defending this Culberson Hill that hard because I don't have him in any lineups right now, but he's not the worst player. And now that he's in the lineup, watch him hit a home run. Won't pick him though. Let's do home run picks though, but not Culberson.
No, he's got 20 in his career, dating back to 2012.
A lot of them came last season.
Yes, they did.
And some of that sweet juice. Yeah. That sweet juicy juice.
He must have got into Brady Anderson's locker or something.
Well, there's a lot of guys there historically who I'm sure have left some behind.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm sure Ron Gant left a couple jugs of it in a Braves locker from time to time.
Maybe even Hank Aaron. We don't know.
No, he was just taking speed, and no one seems to care about that. But whatever.
That's a fair point. All right, you're in the lead. I guess I'll set the page. Unfortunately, I hate doing it on shows where Josh is hosting as well. But Josh has 5 on the year right now. Emac and I tied at number 2 with 4 on the year. And Mr. Jake Hari on the board with the guy who we both wanted to pick yesterday, but is Jake's guy, the love of his life, Eugenio Suarez. It seems appropriate that Jake got on the board there, though it would have been really fun to have picked him first and then had Jake have to watch Eugenio Suarez hit a home run for another man. But Jake is on the board with his 1. So no offer on the year for Jake. But Josh, I'll let you go first because you are in the catbird seat.
Yeah, give me 1 sec. We just got an ownership update like right now, so I just want to toss that in here so I have a reference point in front of
So
my
then,
eyes.
you know what? I'll go first while you do that.
Sure.
Because somebody's also asking this question in the premium Slack. Bougie asking thoughts on a sneaky Mets stack. I actually like the Mets quite a bit. Anthony DeSclafani, very bad versus lefties. The Mets rolling out a lineup with a good amount of lefties, and Peter Alonso, who is not an easy out by any stretch either. So I'm going to go with Michael Conforto. He was one of my one-off picks in the Four Corners short form preview slate video that I do every day, which you can check out on this channel, usually around 2 p.m. Eastern time. But Conforto is my dude. So let's go Michael Conforto.
There you go.
Don't troll me with
Conforto is 20th.
Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Alrighty.
Oh, Jake is going back to Eugenio. Wait, is he saying this? No. He's just saying Suarez is my man. Okay. He's not actually picking Suarez again.
That would be a bold one today.
It would be. But, it worked yesterday against the vaunted Jason Vargas, who had like 5 innings of actually quality ball.
Oh, man. Part of me wants to take Peter Alonso just to troll you, but I can't because I don't think it's good. Although he ranks high. Oh, man, I do not like a ton of stuff here.
Jake was apparently about to pick Conforto too. So Jake and I have been a little creepily on the same page over the last 2 slates, I've noticed, and a little bit more this year.
I'm glad you said creepily.
Why. Yeah. We're usually not. Usually I disagree equally with you and him, but Jake and I have been very simpatico.
I will take whoever I pick. The other one's gonna dong. This is gonna be so irritating. I don't even want to say it out loud. All right, I will take Eric Thames.
Oh, all right. I like that one.
The alternative to this was Mike Moustakas. So I assume Moustakas is going yard now.
Yeah, look, that stack is pretty interesting, and I didn't get there as much as I wanted to earlier in the day because it's a pretty good one. Because Senzatella is not missing bats, and being in Miller Park is going to help out a lot of those guys. I think the Milwaukee stack is a little bit underrepresented in terms of ownership.
I don't know where they are right now.
Everybody, on DK, 10% and under except for Grandal and Shaw.
That's a pretty owned stack.
I go that part of it, but Shaw, I don't know. Shaw seems like he shouldn't be the highest owned part.
I mean, they have the third most ownership as a team.
I guess, yeah, true. Yeah, look at the top 5. Do you weigh that down at all? Because I just divide the top 5. I know we talked about this the other day, but does it also apply for the top 5? Because you just divide them by 5?
No, I add them all together.
Well, right, add them all together and divide by 5.
No.
Oh, okay. Because the whole stack isn't as highly owned, but the top 5 is pretty highly owned on DK at least. 11% for the top 5, but 6.6% for the whole thing.
Yeah, I want the whole thing. I want to know how the whole team is owned.
Fair. You know what I did notice on lineup study on Fantasy Cruncher Pro? A lot of people only stack in like 1 through 6.
Yeah, those people are probably losing money.
Well, a lot of the winners, at least from last night, were stacking 1 through 6. So maybe it's just a night thing. But
I end up with so many 7, 8, 9 hitters. They're so easy to get over the field because no one plays them. So you can roster 8% of someone at 1% and feel like $1 million.
True.
I love it. My hitting stacks are so often filled with the bottom of the order instead of the top.
Still waiting to see who Jake's picking for his home run. I don't know if he's actually going to throw it in the chat. Maybe me taking Conforto threw him off his little 1-run swag.
I thought he really was taking him. Oh, Chris, that's literally who I just... Oh, no. So I have to go no Conforto. Okay, so I guess he's probably... Oh, wait, he's got Bryce Harper.
Bryce Harper. Yeah. All right, the baseball savant going with Bryce Harper. And a Philly lineup that also... Well, let me check their ownership because the most recent update. Let's see. Actually, tell me about your stacks. Where do you get the most stack wise? Because if you're paying for pitcher,
I have not run a crunch.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm about to start.
Yeah, dude. Then you can't answer the question then. But I want to talk about this Philly stack overall going against Daniel Norris because
they grade out really well for me, FYI. So keep going.
Yeah, so I like him quite a bit. I mean, Norris is a bad pitcher overall, and he's missing bats in line with where he's been for his career. And this Philly stack getting 4.7 implied runs in their favor. I think they're a little pricey. Like Adam was talking about the deeper dive, that it's hard to really get them if you are going to put one of the higher priced pitchers in there. It's hard to get to them because they are pretty nicely priced. But I feel like if any pitcher is going to give up a lot of production to a lineup, Norris is probably as good of a bet as anybody out there, at least on paper.
Yeah, the Phillies grade out as my number one stack on DraftKings. Now, whether or not I get to them is a completely different story. I assume that I get. It's a tough sell for me because I know that Norris isn't getting any ownership, so I know that I'm not going to be pulling them up from a leverage perspective. But they grade out as tied for second with the Brewers on FanDuel and tied for first with the Rockies on DK. So I anticipate having a pretty solid amount of Phillies in some form on one of these sites. They look good. That's the best I can say for right now.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think you do have to give some stuff up. And if you are a believer in the pitching having a high upside, and we did see yesterday, a lot of Bauer and Cole lineups ended up winning. So on a day two where there aren't a lot of very generous Vegas totals favoring the hitting, it might be a good day to spay for pitching. And that does put a team like Philly kind of on a no man's land. So I get it.
I'm anxious to see these crunches, though. I have no concept of how this is going to end up just because of like doing the show so far ago in the day and then crunching for like an early slate. So that it basically just like resets my brain for the thought process of what I'm doing. I forgot who even plays today because of having the early slate. It just totally wipes out all the logic in my head.
Yeah, I don't play the early slate because it's always too early on the West Coast, and I have to, like, basically the second I wake up, I have to start prepping for everything for both NBA and MLB. So, like, I don't have that wherewithal. So it's nice to be able to focus in, but I really thought we were going to have like a 5-game afternoon slate, and that's where I really enjoy, because then we can kind of luxuriate in it a little bit more. But so many good pitching options on this one. Like, I wish we had 2 out of the 3, and I think we'd be a little better off, or 2 out of the 4.
I'm really nervous to see who I end up with here.
Are you clicking it like literally as we speak?
I mean, I just started like the first piece of my FanDuel crunch. It'll be 5 minutes or so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not a quick process. 3 separate crunches across 2 different sites. I mean, it's a production.
But to be a pro, you got to do that. So that's a sacrifice you make.
Yeah, call me like a semi-pro.
Right, like a Hawaii. What was the team? What were the Tropics? I don't remember what
Flint
city.
Tropics?
Yes, the Flint Tropics. Yes, yeah. You would be a semi-pro like them.
Jackie Moon.
I forgot that they were Flint. That really completely escaped my brain.
Yeah, that's the funniest part of it all. Classic tropical weather.
Oh, good point. Known for their water supply.
Yeah,
as blue as it can get.
It's so weird to me that that's a thing, but we do not need to get into that right now.
No, perhaps not. I don't know. Do people have like a hot take? We shouldn't give Flint water. like knowing it, the internet. There's probably some Reddit out there that's like, yeah, like Flint's water problem isn't our problem. Don't use my tax dollars to give them water.
To be fair, that is my stance.
Everybody should have water.
No, but maybe some places you're just not like meant to live. We're not worried about getting fresh water to like other places that suck. Maybe we just determine that this place sucks and no one should be there any longer instead of fixing the infrastructure of a broken place.
I guess so. I think, yeah, I think there's infrastructure things. You assume a certain degree of it. I'm probably more sympathetic because my apartment building has had conditions with water where we've had our water turned off for the entire business day, where can't shower, can't use the bathroom or anything. So I can relate to the fine people of Flint.
Yeah, like I feel bad for them. That sucks. But like it's not as simple as just being like, oh, we got water now. Like basically, like every pipe in Flint is just like awful. That seems like a really big problem to fix. It seems like we have plenty of land in like Idaho and Wyoming and North Dakota, South Dakota, plenty of places to live.
We do like put in, wiring for Wi-Fi and stuff and for better internet. So I think we could put in pipes for people. That would be my guess.
Yeah, look, it has nothing to do with the people. It's just the thought process there. We should not be investing in things that are broken.
That's fair. Well, speaking of investing in things that aren't broken, hit that like button. That's like an investment in our future as a YouTube channel. Obviously, we're here every day doing a lot of content, hours and hours of video every single day. So please hit that like button. It helps us out a bunch. If you're watching the video, please do that. Don't let Josh's takes turn you off. Trading you for a washing machine, Chris. Hey, that's fair. Hopefully it's not I won't make the joke I was going to make.
Can't help everybody, guys. Can't help everybody.
Let's talk about. You know what? Nick Staggers. Hey,
Thomas Tyner. Not hard to replace Pipe. Clearly it is.
it is hard.
Been a decade, I think, like now at this point. Seems like it's a pretty tough thing.
All right. What else do we not hit on pitching wise that we perhaps should? I feel like we covered everybody at length there. Oh, Felix Pena. I know that's somebody that people were talking about. People are a little concerned that there is now a projected opener and Felix Pena is going to be the projected long reliever. I guess you want to give a sort of general thought on how to approach that, and because I know you were talking in the premium Slack to somebody about that.
What? Sorry, I'm busy just
about
reading me getting absolutely
Felix
roasted here.
No, downgrading Felix Pena because of him being a long reliever instead of an opener.
No change for me. I didn't want him before, and I still don't want him now.
Yep, I would agree. I wasn't crazy about him. I actually think going with some Blue Jays against him is not a bad approach. He's also got some pronounced lefty-righty splits. And the lefties on that lineup are pretty interesting there. I mean, Smoke's been hitting it well. Sogard's been hitting. Out of all the people, he's taken some of that Culberson magic sauce, seems like, so far this year. Have you seen his numbers on the year?
Who?
Eric Sogard?
He went yard a couple times recently, right?
Yeah, he's had so basically every game he's played, he's been good. He's got a 395 batting average, 458 on base percentage, 209 WRC plus, and a 6.1% home run rate so far in 2019. compared to his career average, or going back to last year rather, versus a right-handed pitcher, he had a 208 batting average, 299 OBP, 125 ISO, and a 70 WRC plus, and a 2.2% home run rate. So
he's
Eric
on that
Sogard,
juice too.
He must have played with his launch angle.
Yeah.
Which is the new term for everybody. Speaking of, somebody in the chat was talking about Tommy La Stella and his launch angle. Any concern or care at all for Tommy La Stella today, now that he's been bumped up to hitting leadoff, and now a reasonable price given that opportunity, I guess?
I'm supposed to give a...
Yeah, what are your thoughts specifically on Tommy La Stella? Because people were talking about him a little bit more than you would think.
He plays today?
He does, in fact.
Fine. I don't know. Yeah, he's perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, that stack under-owned, I would say. Everybody besides Mike Trout, even Mike Trout, under 10% today on DK.
Yeah, I mean, they're decent low. I don't like targeting against Stroman, really.
EMAC gave his home run pick in the Slack, and he just got in. He said his pick is Reese, Soto, Renfroe, or Conforto, whichever one on the list hasn't been claimed, or is first on the list that hasn't been claimed. So Soto is out. Conforto's been picked, so that means he gets Reese Hoskins.
There you go.
Which would have been his first choice anyway. But EMAC does have the best ratio on the year, so I'll add him to the board. Adam Crunch is looking.
Pretty good. Just finished DK.
All right, what are you getting on there?
Finished is a strong term.
God damn it.
I'm done the crunch. I'm exporting now, man. It's not all automated. Or more automated, people would freak out about it too.
What is okay? Reese Hoskins. Oh, he's taking your sloppy seconds from yesterday. EMAC is. I didn't even realize that.
I mean, why wouldn't everybody want my sloppy seconds?
They get very sloppy after you play with them.
Speaking of, Blue Jays lineup is in now, huh? I missed that.
Oh, no Sogard. Sogard's hurt.
Let's just hope I don't have a lot of Blue Jays to fix this. Cool. Number one exposed team on FanDuel. 647. Is Lock at 705?
Yep.
Okay, I got time to blow this up. How much did I get on DraftKings? How much Sogard did I get? It's really all that matters.
He was a great play on paper.
I got 11% of him, so I'm just going to throw everything in the trash.
You were Team Sogard. You didn't even know his outrageous 2019 stats.
I just don't care what they are. They're completely irrelevant to what I'm doing.
It's funny. Yeah, I mean, so in your projections mindset, you were probably going off of the longer sample size, which is terrible, and you still had them.
Yeah, most of this stuff isn't really that relevant. It's all construction. But I truly, no part of me cares how Eric Sogard has played in 2019. 0% of it has an impact on what I'm doing. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's 100% true.
I understand because you're more about the lineup build itself and hitting whatever leverage points and all that. But I do feel like it does add a value point to know like, oh, this guy's hitting leadoff, and also that's a stack that I would want to have potentially, or for whatever reason. So I feel like that would be something useful for you to know, at least on a cursory level.
What, that he's hitting leadoff?
Yeah, or just that he's like going crazy this year and perhaps unsustainably well. So
if he's going crazy and he's unsustainable, I'm more likely to not roster him because other people will.
Right, but you're just seeing the longer term numbers, so you're not aware of the fact that he might be due to crash down to earth.
I just don't need to see it. It'll bear out in my data.
Okay. Sogard has to sit when he's not roid cycling.
Yeah,
I think he was hurt yesterday. He had to leave, I think, because of illness is what I saw, if I'm recalling correctly.
That I honestly don't know.
Pretty sure that was, yeah, I think that was why. Because I looked it up because I was like, what is up with Sogard? Actually, I had him as a one-off to pick too. That bothers me. Way to let us all down, Eric Sogard. That's why.
I really wish that I didn't have to rerun this. I hate the scramble. More than anything, I hate having to wait. Just like I can't start until I get ownership. So, I mean, I can, but I don't want to. Which means that I'll have a solid 15 minutes to just scramble aggressively. I'm
actually going to sub in Tommy La Stella for Eric Sogard, my one lineup that I had Sogard in.
Smart.
There we go. Yeah, he is. Look, trading one juicer for another potential juicer. We shouldn't just accuse everybody of juicing. Some guys, though, are really hitting outside their depth so far this year.
Have you ever juiced?
No, I would, though. Like, so if it were easy and I knew I wouldn't like have to deal with infected needles or anything, I see no reason why not. It's really the one thing I haven't tried yet, fitness-wise, in life.
Yeah, I totally would too. I also meant just like regular juicing, like jamming a cucumber into the machine and spitting out green stuff.
I have a magic bullet, which I did use for like a week, but it's still there on the counter. So I
highly recommend. So if you ever plan to get back on that and using the magic bullet, wait, do you have the magic bullet smoothie machine or whatever? I don't know anything about that one, or just the one where you just like put the thing on the top and press the top.
Yeah, it's the one you just put the thing on the top.
Yeah. So if you get into those drinks by using your magic bullet, spend the money on like a Blend Tech or whatever other blender. It'll blow your mind. So I was making green drinks for a while in a magic bullet, like constantly. I was like, okay, this is fine. And then you make it in this Blend Tech and it just removed, like it pulverizes everything to a degree that you didn't understand could happen. And then you're like, oh, cool. That was worth it.
There was one point where I bought, like when I was like super cash rich and stupid in my mid 20s, where I bought like a blender that had a Ferrari engine in it. And somewhere along the way, I just got rid of it. I don't know why, because I think I was moving and it was just like big and kind of clunky.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, that's probably what I could have used for all my blending, but I don't really blend much. I also have a Margaritaville machine too, which seems redundant.
I'm just going to start calling you Jimmy Buffett.
That's fine. I would love to waste away again in Margaritaville. I may do that later. It is May. We got to start celebrating our Cinco de Mayo appropriately.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So I brought this up earlier today. Was there not like a big "it's gonna be May" meme thing yesterday? I felt like no one got to it.
I think people are sick of it. There are a lot of jokes like going counter to it now.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't even realize it was going to be May because I didn't see all the memes cross my stream.
They've also probably largely, I guess I can't really get to Culberson. Never mind. Whoever said to go to Culberson, I can't get him into that lineup, unfortunately.
What a bummer.
A lot on Instagram I saw were people making fun of it and like fake tweets from Justin Timberlake, like saying, "I said me, not May, you F-bombs," or whatever. So I think people have now gone the other way, where we've seen it for several straight years where people don't want to post it as much unless you're like a cornball.
I'm very pro that, just because of our boy Jut. JT. No one ever calls him Jut. They should.
I would not. Why would they call him Jut?
I don't know. Why not? Sounds like a completely different person, doesn't it?
I'd call him Just Adjust.
I'd call him whatever he asked me to call him, honestly. He's incredible.
Awesemo promo package comes with a magic bullet and one total cycle. That is inaccurate. The only steroids we give you are for your brain that make you stronger there every day. The largest and most important muscle in your body. The brain is what you can work out here. Use promo code live before lock to work out your brain now. 50% off your first month.
That's a good plug, man.
Thanks. that's why I keep getting to do these shows. Just one good plug an hour. It's all I need to do.
I like it. I like it. So I'm getting a lot more Scherzer than DeGrom in my original crunch. That doesn't mean that's how it comes out in my lineups, but I am getting roughly 60% Scherzer to 40% DeGrom. But when I sort, it's going to change that a bit. But just for a reference point, while I'm sitting here watching it all happen.
Chris, did you also buy a slap chop during your cash rich days?
I
No,
had
that
one.
was. I did not get that. That one seems okay though. I feel like dicing is helpful, but I'm actually typing now. I did get the Billy Mays cleaning thing though.
The slap chop's really convenient if you have like a lot of garlic to prep. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, that seems fair. It seems like dicing stuff. Like dicing is hard. I mean, it's not hard, but it's a lot more effort. Slap chop seems like a nice way to dice things.
Over the years of my domesticated life, I've developed some pretty decent knife skills. But back in the day, I was not a big fan of like having to chop an onion, and now I can kind of do it like eyes closed type stuff. But that's 10 years of living with my wife and having to do that. Eventually, you just pick that stuff up.
Yep, that's right, Sean V. It's okay.
We're
Sean
not
V,
all ordering $60 worth of Chick-fil-A on Postmates or whatever service you use. Which, by the way, I'm having Chick-fil-A for dinner.
But probably a drive-through version of it, which is more affordable. You're not wrong.
Yeah, well, the wife's picking it up, so in theory, it's delivery that I don't have to.
You've got your own personal Postmate.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't have to request it. She's just going to bring it.
Okay, so I'm confused. So first of all, Sean V, real fast, talking about dog food from a conversation we had last week. I knew you were wrong, but it's fine. But I actually did try one of the foods that one of the other guys in the chat recommended because, like, honestly, I just have to stick to a certain dietary guideline. So Callie's actually trying the whatever science diet, whatever sensitive stomach and skin because it has the same ingredient. It's the same shit for me. It's all 55 plus for like 25 pounds.
Do you get it shipped to your house?
I do.
Yeah, you and me both.
Yeah, I'm not going out to get a 25-pound bag of dog food. We're not there. Amazon does that much easier. I don't care if they impeach every city around America.
No, yeah. I get mine through Chewy.
Oh yeah, they have good deals. They always email me.
Yeah,
but I only use them once.
Yeah, but that's the way to do it. I don't want to carry a dog food bag. This shit's heavy,
Even
man.
carrying it up. For me, even carrying it up from the lobby from like my doorman is enough. It's fucking heavy. I mean, that's what we work out for, though.
Dude, I barely want to drag it in the front door after they leave it on my porch.
I always get mine after the gym, so it feels like my post-workout thing where I'm like, all right, well, now I get to lift this 25-pound bag up like a strong man, a Swiss strong man of some sort.
All right, you ready? I've got crunches.
Yep, let's do it.
And we still don't have updated ownership, but I don't think it matters. It's really only Sogard, so I'll be okay. All right, refreshing the the FanDuel one first. Then I'm going to download my templates. Getting this in with 9 extra minutes to go. I'm feeling pretty happy.
Hopefully no late scratches.
I could really use some White Sox runs, but early slate is still going well, so that makes me happy. I need some sort of like light at the end of the tunnel after today.
I got I want to know where you're shaking out on this stack because San Diego came out an uncomfortable amount for me, and I did kind of meet it down and go other directions, but as a value stack to get to the expensive pitching, they were one who popped up a lot, and I don't like going against your boy Fried that much.
I mean, I've been getting a ton of Padres for like a week or two now, so I could be with you there. There's a lot of power, so they're going to be a team that grades out well for me in GPPs. All right. Everything is refreshed, so we'll start on DK. Oh, that changed quite a bit. Oh, this is aggressive. Oh, no. Wait, did I update that? I didn't. That is going to be really annoying. I crunched things in a way that I wish that I didn't. And I don't have time to bail that out, I don't think. 60% Scherzer, 30% DeGrom, 30% Nola, 15% Chase Anderson, 13% Michaelis, 16% Bumgarner. Okay. Top stacks. Blue Jays, Padres, Astros, Brewers. On FanDuel, top stacks, Blue Jays, Padres, Brewers, Rockies. That's where I'm at.
Okay, so you're on the Padres. That's good.
I am on the Padres. I'm going to see if I can re-crunch DraftKings right now.
Chalky and not that great of a team going against the pitcher I don't think is that bad. Seems like a tough spot, but I'm going to ride with my Padres that I have.
I mean, they grade out as like, I don't know, 4th or 5th for me. I don't love how owned they are, but that's sort of a testament to how well they grade out and sort of their affordability and their price structure.
Yeah, that's fair.
I am re-crunching. I'm re-crunching DraftKings now anyway, so none of it matters.
Okay.
I didn't boost my hitting projections prior to running it. I thought I did, but apparently I stopped in the middle of my conversation and just didn't do it. So I'm hoping I can, I have lineups that are ready, but I'm hoping that I can get to, the updated set in the next 7 minutes, which shouldn't be much of an issue.
Oh, for a second, I thought Sean V was also a Madison Bumgarner, but no, he's talking about Max Scherzer. I got excited that you both were going to be team Mad Bum.
I would have took him out of every single one of my lineups.
Yeah, Sean V, what's your take on Madison Bumgarner today? I need your
whatever the answer is. He's going to be off. Like, it's going to be some word that describes it like it was an atom bomb that dropped on a city. It's always just like, that was abysmal. Like, come on, this is gonna be a long season, man. It can't all be that bad.
What if he's like, oh, I love everything that I'm looking at as Madison Bumgarner's grading out really well. I think he's
gonna be like, oh no, when he faces the Dodgers the day before a full moon.
When it's the week of Cinco de Mayo and there's a vernal equinox on the horizon, Madison Bumgarner truly excels. I'm waiting for his take. I want to know.
I've never wanted to know anything less.
Who's making you the most uncomfortable stack-wise? Let's talk about first. In terms of ownership, I'll say for me, it's the Padres. Like, I get your logic for it, and I think that does make me feel a little better that everybody's going there. But here you go, Sean V. I like Mad Bum a bit too. Spags always brings it for the Dodgers. So there we go.
See?
Little rivalry game. You love a good rivalry game. That's one of your most weighted factors in your model.
I have never thought about it in my entire life. Certainly not in baseball.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Eric Lauer, I think that came through one time, like last season, where he had like a monster day versus the Dodgers, and somebody had said that, like, oh, he hates the Dodgers. I remember that vividly because he said in the interview afterwards, he was like, yeah, I just really hate the Dodgers. I was like, oh, all right, fair enough.
I prefer that take if we actually hear the dude say it and not just being like, oh, he's in the NL West, so I assume he doesn't like the Dodgers.
Oh, true. Yeah, that's more fair.
If someone says it, I can't disagree with what they're saying,
That's fair. Yes, stack-wise, what are you the most concerned about that you have a lot of, I guess, from what you're seeing with your crunches?
Give me 1 second to click crunch on this 150, and then I'll have like a minute to continue to do what we're doing.
Oh, here. Mark James saying every tout site on Padres today, even on Fantasy Radio, SMH.
You don't have to shake your head, man.
Sean is right more than wrong. Sean gives out a ratio of takes that are so pronounced that you remember the right ones a little more than the incorrect ones, unless we point them out. That's how touting works. That's why who will watch The Watchmen?
The one that I'm most nervous about, I don't have one.
Really? Okay.
No. My top 5 stacks all grade out solid to me. I don't have a lot of Rockies on DraftKings. I would say that is the thing that concerns me the most because they grade out as my second best stack and I barely have them.
Okay. That seems like a fair thing to worry about. I'm always more worried about having too much of somebody than too little. Though I guess sometimes it does work the other way. Today, I'm a little worried about having not enough Brewers, I guess, but not meaningfully so. I don't think I got there quite as much as I should have in terms of a full stack, but got enough of the one-offs and mini stacks in there where I feel okay about it, I guess. Pitcher wise, who are you feeling like you perhaps have too much of in your lineups?
Nobody. I'm pretty happy with my pitching exposures.
You're 80% Daniel Norris, a little too heavy.
I do not have a single share of Daniel Norris. No, I like my pitching exposures. I kind of wish that I would have had a little bit more Bumgarner, but I guess we'll see when I finish off this final crunch if that changes. But yeah, like I kind of like my layout right now.
I feel like I have a little too much Aaron Nola just because like he's going to be owned and I'm a little bit above the field. Like I'm at 50%, I think maybe a little bit above that. Which isn't my favorite, but he's got the lowest total and I was just trying to play it straight and the lineup does theoretically have some Ks and you got Norris in there too, theoretically offering up a few more strikeouts. So I'm all right with it, but if Nola blows up or has a mediocre day again, I'll be a little bit sad. Yes, here we go. A certain site says on Smith, so stack against him at will. Look, Caleb Smith is fine. I think anybody who's looking at the same numbers that we're supposed to look at, we'll see Caleb Smith as being a valuable player.
I have a lot of Indians on FanDuel, which makes me kind of nervous, but also mildly okay with it. Because they're unowned. They have like 20% total ownership, and I've got like 70 or 80. So those are the kind of spots that I like to be in.
Interesting. Okay. That is a lot. That is a lot of Indians. But it worked last night, so sure.
Yeah, they are my 5th most exposed stack on FanDuel. So Indians and Rockies I have a lot of on FanDuel, and I'm pretty happy there. Time is 7:03. Oh, damn. Gotta hustle.
Nico Goodrum versus Nola, I like. Yeah, that's not a fair take, Sean, or not an unfair take, Sean. I think that I do have a couple of hedge stacks with Nola just because of the amount I have, and Goodrum is definitely one of the guys I wanted in there.
Do me a favor, cross your fingers.
For what? For Nola getting cratered?
No, this is going to be a really tight squeeze.
Oh, for you?
Yeah.
Sure. Hey, look, I'm actually crossing my finger. For some reason, you told me to do that, and I immediately just crossed my fingers like, all right, whatever Josh is rooting for is going well.
Okay, I barely have any Max Scherzer now.
Interesting. That's a take. I don't have a lot either.
I assume I have less than you. But
I
will let you know in the second that I upload this.
I think I'm at 20% Scherzer. Let me see. Yeah.
Okay. FanDuel lineups are in. DraftKings lineups are in. Okay. So I ended up with 19% Scherzer, 43% DeGrom, 17% Kluber, 36% Nola. Caleb Smith is at 23%. No shit. I have 2. So that's a pretty big fade for me. Matty Bums at 17, Michael is 15, Anderson 15. So most of that stayed the same. I just don't have as much Scherzer as I did on that first run. I am now double the field on the Blue Jays. I still have Padres, then Brewers, then Astros, then Phillies. So all of that top section has held up for me. I've just gotten off of some of that max exposure. That kind of makes me a little nervous. Okay, so that was your question earlier. What makes you nervous? I don't have enough Max Scherzer.
Yeah, that's fair. I deliberately don't have enough because I think I'm okay with the DeGrom and Nola thing. And if those guys both blow up, then it sort of is what it is. At least that was my take on the day. But yeah, I have 3 out of 25 that have Scherzer in it. So I'm in the similar boat for 3 out of 23.
I now have quite a bit of the Indians are my 6th most exposed team just behind Philly. So I'm pretty happy about that on both sides now. All right, I'm most over the field on Indians and Rockies.
Josh is on a delay. Otherwise, we would have seen some good potential viral action, says EMAC. Yeah, your sweats. Josh has famously not. I guess you didn't go viral for them or anything when you didn't get lineups in, but those times were hilarious. The 1 or 2 times it's occurred.
The history. One when I was still on my own, and everybody was like, "Oh, you should just play DK contest today," and I was like, "Okay, here." I put the placeholders in and then got them in like 15 seconds late. That one was classic. The last time that I wasn't able to get them in, I 5x'd my money on my placeholder from 10 o'clock in the morning, so I can't even be mad.
That's what people in the premium Slack are always saying, like, oh, I should just play my lineup from like the night, especially for NBA. I do feel like sometimes with the news, you can pivot off of guys who are just like good fundamental plays for guys that are like trendy plays or opened up value. And with baseball, it feels like that's probably not as good of an idea, I would guess.
I mean, as long as they're in, like, for the most part, nothing's changed. As long as you know your guys are playing, like, I would never freak out over it because it's not going to be like the NBA where something can dramatically, like, someone got ruled in and now a person that you thought was playing 30 minutes is going to play 10. Like, if they're confirmed in the lineup, I'd be like, okay, well, at least I've got a shot.
Sure, that's a fair approach. I think your agnostic view towards things is both kind of levels out the downs and the ups, I guess. So that's probably a good way to be.
Yeah.
Is
real
there
agnostic views in this show so far today?
I can see one of them which didn't do well for us. No. We can talk about that when we get off the air. Thank you guys for watching. Hit the like button on the way out. Is Eddie doing a show for NBA, or I know it's a weird timing slate?
No, it's a single game slate. We don't.
Okay.
Not enough to talk about for that.
So go, if you're a premium member of the site, go to the website now. Go to osmo.com. Obviously, that is the website I say when I say the website. Go read my premium playoff primer for the day. I did do a 1-game showdown breakdown on it because I think this Denver series is pretty interesting. And in particular, I think Denver is in a good position to win another one at home. But go check that out on the site if you are a premium member. If you're not a premium member, use the promo code live before lock. Our night slate content is the best around the industry. The ownership projections, the rankings. Our staff, or our management team in particular, is really good with night slate content as players, and they bring the same worldview to how they're building our ownership projections and our rankings for the night slates. So go check that out. Use the promo code live before lock for half off your first month. Anything else you want to hit on before we go call it quits?
I don't think so. Good luck, everybody. Go Matty Bums. Go Jays. Go Indians. Go Rockies.
Go not Eric Thames.
No,
but go Michael Conforto.
We want him. How much of him did I end up with? I have 17% on FanDuel and 5% on DraftKings.
How much Michael Conforto do you have?
0 on DK and 3% on FanDuel.
Actually, let's go through all the home run guys. How about Bryce Harper? And Rhys Hoskins, since I think you
almost went straight to the Nats there. Harper or Hoskins?
Harper and Hoskins both.
Harper 17% on DK, 9% on FanDuel. Hoskins 3% on DK, 7% on FanDuel.
So you'll be the most hurt by Conforto in multiple ways if he has a 2 home run day. So that's what we're rooting for now.
Yeah, I don't. I barely have any Mets. Only Met I essentially have is Cano.
Yeah, that's okay. The DeSclafani matchup's so good for lefties, but fine, that's fair. It hurts me a little bit. It's fine.
Yeah, I only got Cano, and I have 7% Cano, 3% McNeil, 1% Nimmo.
Damn. All right. So just disrespect right in the face of Conforto. That's fair. That's all right.
I have 9%. I have 9% DeSclafani, so I hope he mows down all his clowns.
me, Conforto, and Michael Conforto's attractive mother will all remember this day, and we'll rue it. She's gone viral in New York many times for being one of the most attractive moms in sports, and you've gone against her today, Josh. Hope you feel good about yourself.
I'll wink at her.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. Hit the like button on the way out. We'll be back tomorrow with more content. So subscribe, hit the notification bell as well so you get a notification whenever we go live. And we'll see you guys again soon. Good luck.